Now, in this world, again, with the metaphor and the parallel of the cell phones, your cell phone connects to the closest cell phone towers. It has really no need to connect to the cell phone tower in Australia, right? Because you're sitting maybe in the US, like me. So it will connect to the closest cell phone towers, and those cell phone towers will take care of the rest. But let's say if you weren't just a consumer of the cell phone network, but you were part of the maintenance team of the cell phone network, and your colleague from Australia says, hey, I need some support to help with this cell phone tower in Australia, and I want the guys in Europe and the guys in the US and the guys in South America and the guys in Africa to connect with me to that particular site in Australia so we can do some activation or clearing or alignment work so that this cell phone tower can be active and supportive in the highest frequency to all of humanity, to all of life. How cool is that? And our consciousness has that capability. The guides have given us pathways and trainings to be able to connect with our consciousness to particular places around the world. And they call that establishing a bond. And that could be a temporary bond or a longer term bond. And we have all of that in our Earth Keepers trainings. And if we could go to all the places in all the countries in the world, we would, 100%. There is an element, though, about, first of all, being able to do a lot of these sacred Earth expeditions in a shorter period of time, being able to take more individuals than just, let's say, a busload of people. What if hundreds and thousands of people could connect with us and, quote unquote, visit with us a particular place around the world? Which is why the guides propose that we consider doing these remote expeditions that allow and show people the potential and the power that we have together to go, quote unquote, with our consciousness to Belize, to visit all of the sacred sites, to activate, to transmute, to witness, to feel and witness how the energy of that particular site allows us also to transform as humans. And the one thing that I have, many things, but the significant thing that I have learned in all of this work is really what a diverse planet we live on, both on sacred sites, cultures, humanity that's currently alive, and humanity that was once alive. The biodiversity of the planet, and it all comes down to the magnificence of this earth that is present, that we have available to us. To some degree, we have forgotten because we've been living in our cities, we have been living with the comforts that we have and the ways of distraction we have created for ourselves as humans. And somewhat we have forgotten the power and the beauty of this planet, of the many cultures that are alive, of the many cultures that are deeply connected to spirit and to the spiritual network of this world, of the many cultures that have once served or continue to serve from a non-material plane of existence. And yes, some cultures may seem to have passed on in physical form, but they are still active in many ways. Some forms of intelligence that are supporting the earth and humanity are doing it through the sacred sites. And that could be higher planes of consciousness, that could be otherworldly civilizations and consciousness. Now, this may go for some of you a little bit really out there, but trust me, there is a world of its own, an entire universe of its own when we enter a particular sacred site. And I hope you will get to experience some of that in this work that we are about to embark on. And I'm very excited about that. Belize was the next country after Guatemala. Now, we have done some work in the Middle East, we've done some work in Europe, we've continued to do some work in starting off from Central America, Guatemala, and Costa Rica, and the continuation of the lines leads south and north. Next country after Guatemala is Belize, and after that is Mexico, and so on and so forth. There is a way in which the guides have been suggesting that the pathway and the order by which we go through the countries and the sacred sites actually makes a difference. It's almost like when you activate a cell phone network and it's like in a chain of networks that are being activated, that's actually very valid and very important. Now, the activation of these sacred sites brings also healing to the land itself. Energy that's been stagnant, energy that's been dense, conflict that has occurred, any type of civilization density, the way our consciousnesses have held on to past traumas, have more of an opportunity to transform as a result of these activations in these countries, in these fields in which we operate. Some of the sacred sites you have never heard of, and I have never heard of. And that's also the beauty of it. We are learning along the way. We're learning something about historical aspects of these sacred sites. We're learning something about the natural or the archaeological aspects of these sites. Some of these sites are recently discovered archaeological wonders that have not even been excavated yet. Even if we wanted to, we could not visit them because it's almost impossible or not even allowed for civilians to visit some of these sites. So the ability to connect with our consciousness to a sacred site, to do this kind of maintenance and support and activation work is therefore a powerful additional tool for all of us. Belize is a very beautiful and powerful country. And if you haven't really seen the map of Belize or the exact places we're going to go to, I think Crystal will show that later, right? And some people I talked to, they didn't even know what Belize is. It was like, it's a country, really? Like, where is that? And it's, well, it's right next door to Mexico and Guatemala, right there. And it's very connected. It's a very powerful natural habitat, rainforests, incredible coral reefs, incredible cave systems, but also powerful remnants of the Mayan civilization, which continued throughout Guatemala and Mexico, but was still very present in Belize itself. So as you can see, Belize holds a very strong intelligence by itself. We have in contemporary society and nature, that as civilization, measured the importance of certain countries by their economic achievements, or by their military power, or by their political strength. But truly, there is so much more that is added to this consideration or judgment when we look at it from the perspective of energy, when we look at it from the perspective of the energetic grid of this earth and how it's present in many of these countries. Belize is a fairly small country and not very densely populated, and still significant enough for us to pay attention and to connect and spend our energy, time, and resources to go to this place, even if it's remotely. Hundreds of you will be going to connect with Belize in a way that you have maybe never. So it is a beautiful and powerful and exciting experience. In some ways, also an experiment. This is the first time we're doing a remote-only expedition. You'll be used to and do only expeditions that were physical expeditions that will also have a component of people supporting it remotely. This time we're doing it a little differently. And that is also an expansion of our capabilities. Expansion of seeing what is possible with the human mind, the human consciousness. What is possible when a group of dedicated and devoted humans come together to activate the power and the intelligence and the technology that is within our consciousness to do this kind of work to support a country, but by supporting Belize, supporting the entire grid that it's connected to, the countries around Belize, but also the entire global sacred earth network that is supported by one country being attuned more perfectly. Now, some of you are new to this work, and some of you have recently joined Evolution One as an organization, as a community, and maybe this is all like mumbo jumbo for you, and this is all like very out there, but you're giving it a chance. You're gonna see what happens, and we're grateful that you're giving this a chance and have curiosity to join. And some of you have been in this work for many, many years and have trained diligently to activate parts of you that can do this kind of connection and exploration. Don't worry, wherever you are, that's where you are in terms of your practice, in terms of your understanding and your ability for your consciousness to observe. Even if it is when you're joining these transmissions, when you're joining these explorations and activations and meditations, at the very least, it'll be relaxing. At the very minimum, you'll find some sort of entering into expanded states of consciousness. But even more so, you might feel what this particular site feels like versus another site. You might feel the difference between a nature site and a Mayan site. You might feel the difference between a cave system and a mountain. And these differences also give you an indicator of how your internal perception is able to navigate nuances of these different sacred sites.